Mic is open. Test, test, test. Chat, could you hear me? You might have just seen my intro playing. Don't worry about it. I'm black. I'm still trying to get everything together. And I know I keep using that excuse. When is he going to stop using that excuse? But I'm trying. So we're about to start the show. Amazing. Right now, before we start the show, obviously, tell your peoples to tune in. Send them the link because we're getting into some stuff. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you tell your people, send them the link so that way when we start the show, they know what's up. Hold on one second. Give me a second here. All right. So amazing. We got an interesting show today. If the Lord is willing, we're going to get it all out, but we got some good things to talk about. So like I said, tell your peoples about the show and let's get started with the show. What is going on, y'all? It is the Joel Friday TV podcast that you are watching. I am Joel Friday. Bienvenido. Welcome to the show. Amazing stuff. Hold on. Let me make sure everything is clear. Good. Welcome to the show. Happy to be here another Tuesday. Man, oh man. We got some stuff we're going to cover. Let's get right into it. Today's topic. Last week, we talked about what? What did we talk about last week? What did we talk about last week? Let me see. Oh, the biggest red flags when dating, right? Number one was if the male or female is not ready or to seek the truth and the male or female doesn't want what's right, run for the hills. That was one. Number two is if the male or female is into their feelings and emotions, they identify with their feelings and emotions as good, run for the hills. And number three, if the male or female can't control themselves from wanting sex, run for the hills. Okay? 99.99999% of the time, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It cannot work. It cannot. Because that man or that woman is not in alignment with what is right and their heart being pure enough to even pursue something that's going to be worth pursuing. It just can't happen. As much as we want to change people, as much as we want to hope that it's going to work out, if they do not have those things, if they do not want to do what the right thing is to do at all times, at least do their best, or their heart wants what's right, it will not work because if you're not pursuing good or pursuing God, you are in the hands of the enemy, the devil, Satan. So that should be good news, but just remember, keep those in mind, and you save yourself a lot of trouble. Believe me, I went through it. I've gone through it. And I believe that to be true. So that was last week's topic. You could check it out at another time because today you got to listen to today's topic. So today we are talking about, you've seen the title, a well-known secret to great relationships. A well-known secret to great relationships. That's what we're going to talk about today. I got some stuff to present to you guys. I I think it's interesting. And I think it'll also save a lot of problems. So we're going to get into that. But before we do that, you know what you got to do. You know what you got to do. Hit that like button, smack it, lay the smack down on the like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we can get the subscribers up and the message out. Do that now. Make sure you do it, right? So we can get the message out. Amazing. Thank you for what you guys done already. It is also a talk show. So you know you can call in at 888-775-3773, 888-775-3773, and we can talk about today's show, past shows. We can argue, we can fellowship, whatever you want to do. I'm here for it, all in the name of Jesus. Let's do it. Let's get into it. So you can call in 888-775-3773. I think I have the phone number here. Hold on. Let's put the phone number up. Let's see if the phone number is working. Can you guys see the phone number? Let's see. We're about to find out. Let's see if it works. Bear with me. Nope, that didn't work. Hold on. There's a way I could put this phone number up. Oh, you know what? I think it has to be done a different way. I'll get it fixed. I'll get it figured out. But 888-775-3773. And you can call in. Okay? Amazing. So, today, I was, it actually came from like something that Jesse Lee Peterson said on his show. And it kind of sparked something in me because I forgot what he was talking about. And it was very interesting, though. It was very insightful. And it kind of sparked my show for today. And when he spoke about it, I was like, oh, man, I got to talk about this. So it actually came about not too long, like a few days ago, and I was like, I got to get to it. So, yeah, the biggest known secret is actually well known. People know this. To have great relationships, people know this, but people just don't do this, okay? And that thing is communication, right? Communication, I think, is the most overrated known thing about building relationships. Communication. Everybody knows that communication is helpful. Everybody knows that communication is important. But that doesn't mean that people do it. And that's what's so crazy to me. Even for myself, I was thinking like, man, so many things could have been avoided if communication was involved, right? And I'm going to tell you why, because communication tends to bring understanding, right? When you have a conversation with somebody about something, right, or you were confused about something and you ask them, or you're in a conversation, it gives you some insight to that person, right? It brings a clarity, but not only that, it brings a connection, right? You know how to deal with that person. You know more who that person is. And it builds a trust. But that's forgotten about. I honestly think that nowadays, communication has been forgotten about. Why? You know, that's a good question. Why, you ask, has communication been forgotten about? I think it also has to come down to like the times we live in as well. Everything is so done over the internet, online, a lot of different things. There's a lot of different elements that I don't want to get too much into, but communication does build that connection. And what I was realizing is why communication is as important as it is. And this is what kind of sparked what I heard from Jesse's show, is that people don't know what like you're thinking or what you may be feeling, right? and you don't know what people are thinking or what they're feeling. So if you say something and you're not feeling what they're feeling, then of course you're not gonna understand that they were offended or that they didn't like what you said or whatever the case is, right? Of course you're not gonna understand because you're not in their body. You're not living their life. You don't know the things that they've gone through or the things that they're going through. So we can't be mad at somebody for saying something we don't like or whatever. We don't know what they're going through. So that's why it's important also to bring that up or conversate about it and be like, hey, look, I don't like that you said that, or A, B, and C, right? And that comes with getting to know somebody, the communication part, right? But if you don't communicate at all and you expect people not to hurt your feelings or not to say whatever offends you or whatever, then you can't be mad if they don't know you. If you don't voice what you don't like, if you don't tell them that, hey, I don't like this, would you please not do that? Would you please not say that? Right? Communicate. But we don't do that. You know what we do? You know what human nature does? We think that everybody's psychic. We think that everybody mind readers. Oh, he knows that I'm feeling this. Or he knows that I don't like that. She knows I don't like that. Why would she do that? And then we look at them like, what's wrong with you? How dare you do that to me? Right? Because we think people can read our minds. But people don't read minds. We can read like language. You can read like their spirit. You can see that, oh, like, okay, she didn't like that. I said that. Oh, okay. You can adjust. You know, there's ways you can kind of do your best to read the room. But we can't read minds. So that's why we got to learn to communicate too, because a lot of problems would be avoided and actually solved if both parties communicated and understood what was actually going on. So let me move on. Let me move on. So a lack of communication is a major issue. A major issue on a grand scale of society in general. If you think about it. Everybody's fighting about something. But when you think about God and his relationship with you, if you really think about it, does God ever fight with you? If you think about it. Does God ever fight with you? We fight with God. You may fight with God. You know what I mean? Like, I may like get mad or like get frustrated with God. And yeah, I said mad. You guys are probably, you're not supposed to be getting mad. You're not supposed to be getting frustrated. Beta. But it still happens from time to time. So when that happens and we like go off and be like, I don't understand why I'm doing this, I'm doing that, right? We may do that with God, but think about God. Does he do that back to us? Right? No, let me tell you why. It's because God understands. He knows our heart. He knows who we are. He knows why we're reacting the way that we are. He understands it. We're his children. He knows us, right? And because of that is why he can love us with perfect love, right? But of course, God knows us, so it's not like we have to communicate to him to give him some insight. He already knows us. But communication helps the other person get a little bit more insight to who you are. But here's the thing, is both people have to be willing to communicate, right? Because you can be in a relationship, and this is a real thing. It's a real thing. You could be in a relationship and one person wants to solve the problem and get to the bottom of it, and they approach the other person with the problem. but the other person may not be ready to accept it or doesn't want to admit it or is in denial about it, right? You can't talk to that person, and you shouldn't even deal with that person. No offense to them, doesn't mean they're not a nice person, doesn't mean they're fun to be around here and there, but you have to really not protect yourself, because those type of people are not good friends. They seek to, or even if they don't seek to, they serve the ego, which will turn on you if it's not pleasing to them. So two people have to be in agreement that we're going to communicate, we're going to do what's right here, we're going to try to get to the solution of this problem so we can have a great relationship. And it doesn't have to be just marriage. It doesn't have to be just boyfriend and girlfriend. That doesn't exist, but boyfriend and girlfriend. It doesn't have to be just that. It could be friendship, brother and sister, right? The same values go for our relationships across the board. Communication. But both people have to be willing to communicate, but both people have to be willing to be honest. Honest. Okay? Because two people cannot grow in a relationship if they're not honest with each other. Right? And because without honesty, you can't build trust. You just can't. You can't. You cannot. And I've learned that from my own personal experience, that you cannot build trust with somebody if they don't know you, if you're closed off, right? And I'm not saying you got to say every single detail, every single secret or whatever, but I think it's important to be honest if you want to, till death do you part with somebody, or do you want to have a healthy relationship with somebody. I think that it's a great thing for you and that other person both to be on the same page of good intentions of trying to be the best you can be for the relationship or just for the friendship. Right? I think that's valuable. So it has to be a two-way street. I'm going to give you an example because I got my drink. You guys like my drink? Look. Hold up. You can't see it. But it says, the gift of the dance. One of my students had got it for me. The gift of the dance. Isn't that cool? Yeah, that was nice. But anyway, I'll give you guys an example. I was catching up with a friend, and I haven't talked to this friend in like 7 or 8 years. About 7 or 8 years. And I just recently had talked to the friend, and we were talking about like, cause the reason why we stopped, our friendship kind of like ceased to exist was we had a falling out. You know, we had a disagreement, and that disagreement, there wasn't beef there, but it just allowed us to kind of just like go our separate ways. And I haven't talked to that person in 7 or 8 years. And I was just talking to him recently, and we were just talking about like what happened, right? Why did that even be? How'd that even happen? And the only reason why that happened was a miscommunication. And not a miscommunication, but a misunderstanding, right? A misunderstanding because of lack of communication. And I'm like, wow. And then like we were explaining to each other why like we didn't like certain things, or like why we felt we had to step away. And it was simply because we both weren't understanding in that moment what the problem was, right? Like one person was thinking one thing and the other person was thinking the other thing, and it's all a lie. All a lie. And the friend was telling me like, oh, I thought you didn't like me, right? The friend was saying, I thought you didn't like me. And it was like, no, that was not even the case at all. That was not even the case at all. But to them, they felt that, right? But it was just, there's people respond differently to things, and people are raised differently, and they grow up differently. And the way I respond to things was different than this friend responds to things. So to them, when they didn't recognize it as what they're used to, they thought it was like hate or, I don't know, like mean. And that totally was not even the case. Right? And vice versa. So if we would have just talked about it, then it would have all been no problem, no big deal, and probably resolved. So communication is a big thing. But another thing I wanted to talk about it is, well, 1 second. Let me see what the chat. Let me see. Let me say hi to the chat. Hi, chat. Hi, y'all. Joel never did 2-hour show. What the? I know. Maybe soon. Somebody said, what you talking about, Joel? Am I making sense? Joel sponsored by, I don't know. What? Let me see. Yo, Joel. What's up, Joel? What up, though, Joel? What's up, y'all? When you gonna wear a suit jacket? So you guys want me to wear a suit jacket? Should I wear a suit jacket on the show? What if I started wearing suits to the show? Would you guys want? That would be weird though. I can't see me in a full suit sitting here. Now with slacks and everything. Like a nice blazer maybe. Like Hassan always wear like a nice blazer there. But a suit, I don't know. Joel had to get on the track on Friday. But anyway, back to the topic. People are, whatever you do, don't read the super chat. Now you guys are going to make me read the super chat. What you mean? I am going to get the super chats in a second. I will get the super chats in a few minutes here, if the Lord is willing. So I will not forget. So yeah, I think that people, on the topic of communication, I think that people are raised differently, right? And it all depends on how you're raised. Because some people just don't have certain things, like certain obvious signals, I guess you could say, that make you believe what you want to believe. Like for me, I'll give you guys an example. For me, I was raised in such a way to where like my mom was very like hands off. Like she was always really busy working. So there was never any like talks, like conversations. And my dad was around, but he was like, he didn't live in the household. So like I didn't really talk to him either. So there was no like one-on-one talk. So like, how are you? Like what's going on in your life? How are you dealing with A, B, and C? We didn't have that. So every time we would have problems, really, for the most part, we would just deal with them on our own, right? So the good thing about it is that I became independent from a young age, like as far as like thinking and like coming to my own conclusions. Like it made me very independent. And but it also made me not like needy. It didn't make me like what do you call it? I guess dependent on other people or like emotionally, wanting like some attention. I never felt that because I never had that, right? And I didn't feel like I lacked it either because I didn't know what that was like. Because there's other families, friends that I have where they're like all lovey-dovey all the time. They love to like hug and tell each other that they love them and like show their love to each other, right? I didn't come from that. We never showed not a thing. We knew that we loved each other. We knew that, we knew things, but we never really were the type of family to show it. So I grew up in my life not showing anything to anybody, ever, right? And like relationships, friends would be like, what the? Like they would think that I'm like, I don't like them, or they would think that like, I don't know. They would think things. And it was never personal for me. Like I just always came from the standpoint is that I always just approached my relationship as I know that I like you, right? I know that I'm interested in you, or I know I want to keep you around, right? But the knowing for me was enough. Like I never felt the need to express it to people. I didn't know how back then. But the downside of that, so the good side of that is that I'm disattached. I'm independent, right? I'm not needy, right? That's the good side. But the downside of that is that I don't think that anybody ever needs help, right? Because I always did it for myself, meaning like emotionally, spiritually type of stuff, right? Not physical stuff. So, but I always solve things, or at least try to solve things on my own, right? So I am so used to not asking for help, not needing help, right? Or not thinking I need help, right? Trying to solve it on my own, that I don't think anybody else needs help. So I was never the type that was concerned about others or trying to go out my way to try to help them. And it wasn't personal. It wasn't like, I don't like you or I'm being selfish. Because people would tell me that too, like, oh, that's kind of selfish, that's kind of ego. It wasn't even like that. It's just that for me, I never got it. I never felt like I wanted it because I never knew anything different, right? So I grew up not thinking that thinking that people don't need it, that people don't want it, that everybody is as independent. Everybody isn't as needy, right? So a lot of people are thrown off by that. But people are raised differently. And I have friends who dated. I've dated when I've dated, the girls that I have dated have always liked the affection. And obviously, typically women like affection, right? They like that kind of stuff. But there's a necessity as well to like letting the person know that, how do I say it without making it weird? Because it can be weird. Because you don't want to sit around and telling people, I love you all the time. You don't want to sit up there and trying to like prove to them that you love them. But there's a certain amount of like effort that is okay to be put in. That's necessary to put in. Like a necessary amount of concern for another person, especially if you're dating that person or a friend. There is an amount of effort that can be put in a relationship in general, friendship, relationships, familyship, all that stuff. There is a necessary effort that should go into it if you're like trying to have a relationship with somebody. And but I never had that. And So with that being said, that's what's important for people to understand is that people are not all the same. I was never the type to show it, but I was always the type to know it, right? And other people are opposite. So take the time, communication in general, and then I'm going to get to some calls. Communication in general is good for just having that understanding of who the other person is. Right, and I bet you if the other people who were in relationship with me, whatever type of relationship it was, it probably would have been helpful for them to know how I was raised, right? So that way they can just know it's not personal. It ain't personal. If that makes sense. And also people ask me, why didn't it work out with your ex? If it was added and if it was such a good relationship and it was the real deal, why didn't it work out? I got some comments. You guys want to know the reason? I'm going to tell you. After I take some calls. It's like on the TV shows when they say after this commercial break, same thing. After I take some calls, we're going to get into it. Amazing. Let me go to, and then I'm going to get to some super chats as well. Let me go to Frederick, first-time caller out of Los Angeles. Frederick, you're on air. Welcome to the show.
How's it going, Joel? I'm not a first-time caller, but how's it going?
Pretty good. I don't even know why I said that. It's not even here. I think I'm just used to it. But go ahead, Frederick.
It's all right. Hey. I think you're in your thoughts a little too much with the communication and the honesty thing.
Fair enough. Why?
It's all about the women and the male's ego when they get to asking questions. It's like they need ammo or they want to make sure they're seen in public with somebody that background so magnificent in their mind, no matter whose mind else is matters to, but in theirs it has to stand out so they feel comfortable with you. Don't answer them questions. Not
all the time though, Frederick. In some cases, yeah, but that sounds like a person with an agenda, and obviously, most human nature, there's an agenda to human nature, right?
Yeah,
but not all the time.
There's always an agenda,
right? But not all the time are people set out to set you up. Those are the wrong people.
Right. But if you get in a relationship and say, I don't talk about my past and there's nothing good going to come from that, then they'll understand that and you can move forward. There's people nowadays that adopted the attitude that I don't talk about negativity. If you want to talk about negativity, I hang up or you can leave. And they live like that. So I don't see why people have to feel obligated to answer these questions to people about their past if they're just going to judge them for their own person's ego in the first place.
Well, it sounds like
practical. You can answer those practical questions, but you know what type of questions they're asking to see who you are and how you think so they can judge and move accordingly in the future. You don't want them to say, oh, your past is like this, and then you act this way, and I'm going to put it on that because you was honest enough to tell me about that. Now you're a victim of your own circumstance.
But here's the thing, Frederick, is that you're right. Let me cut you off really quick. You're right about that being the case on people who act like that. It sounds like you've been in a lot of situations with the wrong people. That sounds like a negative person. But let me just let me finish the point. It sounds like a negative person, and it sounds like that person that you were with had an agenda to try to flip things on you and turn on you. And that's not the type of person you want to be around in the first place. But if it's a genuine person, and let's just say, like, if you feel you're a genuine person, you would want to build a friendship or build a relationship with somebody that had the same intentions as you have. And if they have the same intentions as you have, then they're not going to be judging you. And they're not going to be trying to put you down if you talk about the past or talk about quote-unquote things you see as weakness, because why are they going to be judging you in the first place? That's an evil person.
You think men and women have the same intentions?
They should. They should.
That's where you went wrong right there, buddy.
Well, that means that you believe that you'll never meet a woman with good intentions. Ooh, that's another topic for another day.
Your intentions can be good, but what you explaining and where y'all on two different paths. That's a female and you're a male. You're the lead and she's the follow. You can't communicate and have it a two-way street if you're driving. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the communication's put to the side and she's just here for the ride, or she's not following. She's navigating, holding the map, and telling you where to go, and now y'all communicate.
So basically, you're saying that. So basically, are you saying that the woman is not smart enough to understand what you're saying?
If she's with you, she's not worried about the questions that you thinking she's asking.
But why? But I don't want no female. Listen, listen, Frederick. I don't want any. And we're just talking. We're not fighting. But I don't want no female that has an agenda. I don't want no female that is testing me. I don't want that.
If she's asking you questions, she has an agenda. If she's there no matter what, if you're not answering questions, she don't have no agenda because she don't know where you're going.
Oftentimes, that can be true. But say, for example, for me.
The alpha male is always
for me,
let the left know what the right hand's doing.
For me, when I ask people questions, I don't have no agenda. So why, if I can ask somebody a question.
Ego.
Huh?
It's for your ego.
What?
The questions you ask, whether it's body count or no matter what kind of questions you want to know about her past. It's
that
for
could
your
be true.
Ego.
It could be about the ego, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm trying to trap the person or the person's trying to trap me. And then if I tell them something they don't like, they're gonna leave. That's fine. Then leave. I don't want you around me anyway. But if I withhold that information and I'm sticking with this person that keeps trying to test me, but she can't get it out of me because I won't express it. I'm hiding it. But listen. Shh. If I'm hiding the information from this like so-called person that has an agenda, this evil person with an agenda, if I'm hiding from them, what am I doing? I'm keeping the evil person with me. I'm keeping them with me because now they're not leaving. They're just going to keep testing me until I reveal that truth. But if you're not afraid to reveal it, and you reveal it, and that evil person judges you for it, and they leave, guess what? You dodged a bullet. So I don't believe in trying to hide. I did at one point. And at times I still get caught up in trying to like protect myself. But that's all ego stuff. That's ego.
Why do you think that they have confessions for? You think a man tells their woman everything they tell their pastor or preacher or who they confess to?
You said, say it again. Say that last part. I zoned out.
Why do you think that they have confessions in Catholic Church? Do you think that man tells their wife, and I mean everybody tells each other, communication and the honesty's out there like that, like you're saying?
And do you know what exactly? You know why they don't? Why we need confession? That's such a great point. Do you know why we need confession now, quote unquote? It's because they can't say it to their wife or the husband because the wife or the husband is evil. Evil is in them, and they will judge them. So they got to go to the church.
They have to confess.
They got to go to the pastor.
So it's not. If they're evil and they having to confess to begin with, why can't they tell it to their wife? They're both evil. They're both doing evil.
Yeah, but one evil.
So to communicate about it is null and is like irrelevant.
But one evil has pure intentions. The other evil has impure intentions.
Yo. I got a call from you. All right.
Thank you, Frederick.
Just something to think about.
All right, man. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
All right, no problem. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
All right.
That's hilarious. I like having a conversation though. Right? Because it makes you think also, but it also makes you sharpen what you believe. And I ain't budging on that one, Frederick. I ain't budging. Hector is not a first-time caller, but he lives in New Mexico. So let me get to Hector. Hector, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
He black. What up, Jarrell?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Going all right. Hey, you don't mind me if I call you that, do you?
What?
It's easier for me to say Jarrell instead of Joel, and I've always wondered if you took offense to that.
No, I don't mind. I've been called Joel. I've been called Joelle. But that one I can't accept. You can't call me Joelle. But Jorel is fine.
Well, now I know what to call you now. That's great.
What's going on, man?
Not much, but I did want to just piggyback off what you were saying, because I think we've all dated somebody who was a terrible communicator, and
yeah,
I think it's just coming to terms with that in the early stages of the dating game, or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But I think it can be, at times it can be really difficult, because, sometimes we can start vibing with each other, and then next thing you know, there's these little signs that start popping up, like, in your intuition, and it's like, maybe I should stop talking to them, but you keep on going and hoping that they'll show a side or show something that proves you wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think one of the worst things for me was someone that I was talking to, and sometimes I would do things and not even know what I did to aggravate them, and then next thing you know I'm getting ghosted, and they're playing these childish games, and then about a week or 2 weeks later they would text back or call, and like nothing ever happened, and it's like, what the.
Wait, so and 2 weeks later, sorry I missed that last part. You said 2 or 3 weeks later they would text back and what?
No, like a week or 2 weeks later they would text back and just say, hey, or something along those lines, and all the while there's something brewing.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah,
they still don't want to talk about it, and it's like at the forefront of everything. It's the reason why it was driving them to act that way. But I think that's the hardest. That's the main thing to come to terms with, is that once you start seeing these red flags, you must accept them and take them for what they are. Otherwise, if you keep trying to endure it, it's just going to lead to suffering. And so,
yeah,
but,
100%. 100%. And I think that also the problem is that the reason why, like, oftentimes we do endure that, even though we see the signs that they're not communicating, we see the signs that they're playing these games, we endure it because, for one, we're hoping that the relationship is going to work out. We're hoping that they're going to stick around for whatever reason, right? But also we think that we can change the person. We think that if we can show them how to be different, or by us communicating with them, it's going to make them want to communicate more and all that stuff, instead of just accepting them as they are. And if they're not in the position to communicate like it's needed in that moment, then that's your red flag right there, to know, like, okay, this person doesn't want to communicate. That may cause problems down the line. So I think it's because we want to change people. What do you think?
I agree. And yeah, that's once you learn how to just accept things as they are.
Yeah.
And when you learn to just let go and just let things happen on their own, that's when everything just has a chance to fall into place.
Exactly.
But if you're always trying to force everything, you're never going to see someone's true colors. You're never going to see things for what they are. So.
Yeah, it's very true, Hector. One thing that I've learned that's very interesting is that, like, if we're not looking in the first place, if we allow life, like you said, to take its course, the right people will be added onto your life, and you won't have to, like, swim through all of these, like, or jump through all of these hurdles to try to get to know somebody. It'll already kind of be working itself out. And it doesn't mean you won't have like challenges and things you got to like deal with that person, but that person will be around because they're supposed to be around. So there's a connection that's already there that we don't see, like in a spiritual way that allows us to, for whatever reason, get along with that person a lot much easier and simpler than if we were trying to get to know some random person that we made happen because our ego wanted it or we wanted something from that person. So letting life just take its course is always the best bet. And the right people will come around you. You won't have to sit there and pull your hair out to try to get them to convert to your way of life, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I agree with that. But hey, can you give James my regards for ruining my day with that with the monkey song? He always does this, and frankly, it's really terrible. So
the monkey song, James Hake?
Yeah, you know, I know you're probably aware of it. It's and I'm going to do it because I want to have it ingrained in your head too. It's the ooh ooh.
Oh yeah,
you know what,
yeah. I know what you're talking about. I heard it on the way into the studio today. I know what you're talking about. James always has a very interesting taste in music, and his book of songs is so wide in range for sure. But hey, man, that's what he likes to play on the show. I'll let him know that you said you didn't like it. I'll say Hector from New Mexico didn't like it. I yeah, man, I appreciate the call, Hector. Thanks again, man. Call me again.
All right, have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye. Amazing. That's funny. I know what he's talking about too, because when I was walking in, Nick was singing the song, and I was like, these lyrics are these lyrics are very interesting. But hey, I have trust in James Hake's library. He knows the classics. I don't know how he knows the classics, but he has a taste for classics. So anyway, I got to end in a second, but let me tell you guys, because I said I was going to say why it didn't work out with the past girlfriend. Because last week I had talked about I forgot. I can't remember what I ate for breakfast. I'm over here trying to sit up here and remember what I talked about last week. But I know it was in regards to relationships and letting things be added to you, and kind of like we were just talking about on the phone call. But yeah, you'll know when it's added and you'll know when it's genuine, you know when it's real. But it doesn't also necessarily mean that it's going to last forever. It may not last forever. It may just be for a season, or it may come back. You just don't know. You don't know what it'll bring. But the point is that all those things were very much the case in the relationship. It was very genuine, it was very real, and it was all the right things for a good amount of time. But things changed. Things changed, and things went left. Does that mean that it wasn't added? Not at all. Not at all. But the reason why it didn't work is because there's also still ego. There's also still ego involved, right? The world has taught everybody a false way to date, a false way to pursue relationships. So when you're learning the better way, the true way, the right way, when you're learning it that way, you're at odds with all the indoctrination you've been taught of the wrong way. So now you're battling, you're back and forth. I believe this. Oh, but wait, I heard it to be this. Oh, but wait, I'm learning that it's this. And you battle with these things. And sometimes in that battle, there's some casualties. And I think that we just became subject to the battle. And it just happens. So it just didn't work out. But I think it really boils down to what it really boiled down to is a lack of honesty. Was one, lack of honesty, like honesty, transparency, vulnerability. I know you guys don't like that word. That's a trigger word. But it came down to that. But overall, it came down to a lack of trust. And all those were prevented because of the battle of the ego and the right way and the wrong way. And like I said, we just got caught up in the battle. So nobody's at fault. Nobody's to blame. Life is what life is. And there was lessons that came from it, great lessons that came from it that allowed me to learn a little more about relationships. So I'm very grateful for it, for the good and the bad of the relationship. But it just happened. It happens. So, yes, when anything is added, when anything comes to our life that we believe is from God, we should never try to hold on to it forever. Don't try to like convince your mind. This is what I did too, is that like, you know, like latch onto it like this is mine forever. Everything's supposed to have no grip. Right? So that way you're okay if it comes and goes, because that's just life. Life comes and goes. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the chapter's over. It doesn't mean that it's done. You don't want to think that either. Like, oh, look, it wasn't. You don't want to think nothing. You don't have no thought about nothing. Just live in the moment. As hard as that is to do, you know what I mean? Stay in the moment. Everything else is lies. Because you don't know what God's going to bring. So, anyway, let me get to, I got to end the show, but let me get to a super chat really quick. I'm going to try to be quick. Super chats. Spoiler alert says, my peoples ain't got no peoples. That's right. Thank you, spoiler alert. My people ain't got no peoples. And he put a crying face emoji. I don't know what that means. But thank you, spoiler alert. I appreciate it. And you always support the show, so thank you. Rebecca sends a thumbs up. Right on, Rebecca. Back at you. Mr. IDGAF sends a fox doing a thumbs up like this. Back at you, Mr. IDGAF. Amazing. I appreciate that. I appreciate the love. And sorry, callers, I cannot get to you. I have to end the show so I cannot be on Color People time. So sorry, Jamie and the others on the line. Call me next week and I'll get to it. Maybe soon we'll add another hour or another day. You never know. But I appreciate the calls and everything. I got it. And thank you guys for tuning in. I hope that all made sense. Follow me across the board on all platforms, Joel Friday TV and The Gifted of Dance. And everybody across the network. We got some stuff coming, and it's coming like no other. So stay tuned. Make sure you stay subscribed to everybody across the board. Okay, we got some good stuff coming. Amazing. Until next time, I'll see you. Bye.
About a thing,